We're here at the North American International Auto Show, and I'm joined by Jim Hackett, CEO of the Ford Motor Company. You've just unveiled the new Ranger. You've got several new vehicles here. Gave race fans a bit of a treat with the new Mustang Bullitt. Give me your perspective in terms of where you see Ford in this auto industry right now.
Well, you know, Phil, it was such a great thing. I got emotional when I saw Molly McQueen talk about that car, because it's the idea of the history of Ford, where it's been a leader in categories like Mustang and F-150, not resting on its laurels. And these things that are coming today, you know, are really better yet. And so I feel like Ford's product portfolio, from a legacy perspective, has done really well. But there's a lot of new things that have promise too.
How critical is the Ranger? You've dominated the pickup truck category for years, but you know that your competitors have really made hay over the last few years with that mid-size offering.
Yeah, it's surprising. 41 years leadership with F-150. This past year, when there was a lot of entrants, we had the largest unit difference between first and second that we've ever had in history. So the F-150 is doing really well. That franchise is great. And this proves to us with this mid-size category that we need to be there. And so a lot of what we've learned has come back with the Ranger. We've got a good franchise around the world, but having it here in the U.S. is really important.
This is our first chance to talk to you one-on-one since you became CEO. And a lot of people look at Ford and they say, it's not a broken company. It's still profitable, doing well, but you want to reposition it for the future. How do you do that? How do you take a company where it's not broken, it's not in pieces, yet at the same time you want to steer it in a new direction?
Yeah, no, it's a great company. It's got a great heritage. I've got a wonderful partner in our chairman, Bill Ford. I can't tell you how fun it is seeing him every day. I did this once before, which is, it's really the emergence of the products that you've known and loved and technology that we never could imagine touching it. And in the office furniture industry, you can't imagine what the computer did to the way work was changing. It changed our business. And the technology that's in these artificially intelligent vehicles and adaptive systems is really changing the design of what people are going to drive in the future. Plus, as I talked about last week at CES, we have the prospect of the ambient environment getting much smarter. This is the Internet of Things. The marriage of smart parking and a smart car is going to have people save time finding a parking space in the future.
But you've heard the critics. The critics are saying, we don't see a concrete offering from Ford. Some of their competitors are coming out saying, we're making X vehicle or doing something, and Ford seems to still be searching, if you will. When do you see those concrete products coming to fruition? In other words, is it in a year? Is it 3 years? How far down the road?
Oh, we're really active. This quarter, we're going to be announcing a test. We're not telling the city yet for our autonomous vehicle. And we've signed up more partnerships with that capability than anyone in the industry. You know about one with Domino's Pizza.
Right.
We learned a ton. In fact, we believe, Phil, that the markets for autonomy in the future are both moving people and moving goods. And it's not clear which one actually is going to be the biggest. So Ford's strategy here is to have a platform that can do both really well.
So are you telling investors and fans of Ford, be a little patient here? You're going to see some offerings. You're not going to see a big to-do at any one point, but you're going to see a little bit here, a little bit there?
You know, I don't actually think we're behind. What I think has happened in the computer industry, where the drama of what the science can do has people believing in the magic that isn't fully realized yet. There's nobody at the level of performance that I expect we will be at when we are there. So I don't feel like we're behind at all, because this capability is unlike anything we've ever seen in history. It's so good, it doesn't need a driver.
Which then brings up the question, when do you get recognized for those efforts from an investor standpoint? A lot of other industries, they're getting rewarded, or at least the perception is getting rewarded. Well, when does that kick into Ford?
Yeah, that's coming, and the testing that others are doing really aren't that far ahead of us. We've made a huge investment in what is deep learning. This is something in the last 3 years that's brand new. When you talk about machine learning, deep learning is actually a step function more intense. So I've been to all the competitors that think about this stuff. Ford's got a really good handle on it, and you're going to see revenue come with some of these partnerships that we've started.
When does that happen? In the next year, next 2 years? I'm not asking you to give financial guidance now, but when can investors say, I see it, I see it rolling?
Well, I think that the only reason I'm reluctant to put the number out there or the date is because that's frankly, going to come as I'm confident that the product and the markets have aligned. Let me give you a quick example. If any of us, put a vehicle in one of these ride-hailing companies today, it'd have to work in a geo-fenced space.
Right.
It really can't navigate outside of a very narrow place, right? So the revenue is going to be de minimis early, but the technology is going to wow people. It's going to prove the promise that we're talking about. I'm saying that Ford has nothing to worry about in terms of lagging there. Our technology is exceptional.
You're wowed. You're wowed by some of the technology you're seeing.
I'm wowed by it because I've learned the difference in the nature of the deep learning. I'll give you a quick lesson. Imagine every day they're testing these vehicles. There's a mitten in front of the car. They go back at night and they say, oh, when there's a mitten, the car better be careful that there might be a person. The next day, the car sees a baseball. They tell it, you might need to be careful because there might be a child nearby. The third day, the car sees a leaf and it stops. And that's not what you want it to do. So the programming, the reason that there's millions of miles that the vehicles have to drive is all the iterations of this deep learning have to happen in a way that the vehicle performs flawlessly. And so I'm skeptical that any of them are in the state that we're talking about. And that's why it's important to understand that Ford's trust that it has with its customers is that when we put that thing in market, you're going to be certain that it will work.
Jim Hackett, CEO of the Ford Motor Company, joining us here today at the North American International Auto Show.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.